What's up, Fuego? How you doing today?
Long nights and pleasant days, Cecil.
Wait a minute. Are you drunk?
Not this time.
How do I know you're the real Fuego?
Benvenutos, right, fians?
You're not the real Fuego. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the horror show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I had to make sure my whole shirt was showing. I'm Jaime and Fuego, and
He
it's already gone.
actually
It's
is
gone
Jaime
already.
and Fuego. He
Yes.
actually is Jaime and Fuego.
Or is it? Maybe I'm a very well manufactured.
I do not have the energy to find out if you are not. So I welcome the.
As do I.
Changeling Overlord. There we
yes,
go.
exactly.
Okay, so guys, we are here to talk all about the recent release. We didn't get the early viewing on this one, but it has only been out a little while, and so we are going to talk about The Hole in the Ground.
Yes.
We actually did 2 different trailer reactions for this one, and both of them were entertaining for us. We had higher hopes. We put it in the same category as The Prodigy, because it was around the same time that we watched those trailers.
Yes, indeed, and then it also had a few echoes of the Babadook with the crazy child and so on and so forth, and even stretching back to The Omen and Changeling. I mean, there are so many different stories that are similar to this, where they're just making it not certain if your child is in fact like turned into sort of demon, otherworldly, whatever status that you are suspecting. And yeah, this movie leaves it very gray area, which is interesting.
So let's do our overall thoughts, and then we'll talk about the story, the acting, the effects, everything in good turn. There will be some inevitable comparisons to The Prodigy. I'll say that right up front because we saw them basically weeks apart, and they are similarly storied, at least a little bit. Noticing differences and things like that. So
this is far superior.
Yeah, this ultimately, I mean, right off the bat, I enjoyed this way more than The Prodigy, and I think a lot of that lies at the feet of the kid. Yeah. So ultimately, here's the thing. The first half hour of this movie, I was like picking apart, and I'm like, oh, you got work to do, son. I've seen Changeling stories before. What are you going to do that's new in order to keep me interested? I even leaned over to him. I'm like, there's so many tropes. Like, or he mentioned the tropes. I was like, there's so many things that we've seen done before in these movies, and it's following those same paths.
We had the advantage of seeing this in a theater, which most have not. Most watched it on DirecTV or whatever.
Our own theater, no less. Literally, we were the only ones in it.
We were, which is how we were able to actually have this discussion. But yeah, check it out. We saw it on a bigger screen because of the fact that AMC Independent does these small little feature series at some of their biggest theaters, and we were lucky enough to be able to actually check it out. And for some of those big shots, dude, especially with the hole in the ground, I'm so glad that we got to see the physical hole in the ground on a big
Let me
screen.
be honest, those big shots and the more claustrophobic shots were that much more effective on a big screen.
Yes,
on a big screen, because that gets to me. I can't stand that in movies. The Descent was very hard for me to watch at times because, listen, I'm a big boy, so it's hard for. I'm working on it, but I am a big boy, and so when I get into the mindset of cramped space, it's harder for me to maneuver. Like when we rode on the plane, I was like, it wasn't fun for me because I'm like cramped and I'm doing this the whole time, and I literally my diaphragm got sore from the rides back because it was like 8 hours of me doing this ultimately, well maybe 6.5, but it felt like a long time and it hurt. So claustrophobic things really get to me, and there was a bit of that in this movie, and they lingered on it too, and I was like, get me out of here. But that's what I'm trying to say. My overall thoughts are, I was very skeptical, in the first third of the movie, but the movie had a lot of work to do to bring me back, and it did it. Honestly, I was surprised because by the end, I was totally in. I really enjoyed the third act, and I was like, wow, okay, they did right by this because this is a story we've seen before. In a couple of different couple of different things. Specifically, the Christmas Horror Story is the one that I go back to. That's so similar.
And actually, that one was very well done, personally. Yeah, that's a good anthology. If you guys haven't seen a Christmas horror story. Shatner is the guy who's framing everything together. It's pretty damn good, man.
So this is a good movie. I do think it was worth watching. I don't know how many times I will be revisiting it, but if I had a choice between revisiting this and revisiting The Prodigy, I would pick this every time.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this better. I thought the kid was better. I thought the mom was actually of the higher echelon of Girl Next Door cute. Like, she was really gorgeous, she had Angelina Jolie lips, and it was like, woof.
She's got Anna Jolie lips.
So I really enjoyed. I was surprised at how into the movie I got. It wasn't groundbreaking, but I enjoyed it much more than I thought I was going to. How about you?
Yeah, I actually enjoyed the hell out of it myself as well, and performance-wise from both her and her son, I thought were really, really stellar. And, being a Scotch-Irish person myself, being last name Callahan and everything.
Laird is a Scottish last name, so I get it. Same thing.
Damn Rizzle. Him and I, that's why we get along so well.
Yeah. Don't you know it?
Exactly. But, damn, I was very similar to you, man, where I was, like, slightly underwhelmed initially until it was still in the first act, but it was where we get this druidic kind of like woman in
that was creepy,
and that was where I was like, okay, they're gonna go somewhere a little bit more different with this. And
I thought it was still entirely predictable.
In the end, they didn't really go that diversion wise,
so
I was
set up
something that I was hoping was going to be drastically different.
Gotcha.
But when they went with the tropes, they accomplished tropes better than I was necessarily expecting. And I mean, performance-wise, especially from the mom and the kid too, was delightfully creepy, and their chemistry was really, really good. And really, there was a time where I leaned over to you and I was like, "That's an awesome shot," and you were like, "Yeah." The cinematographer was like, "God damn right, let's see this happen, man."
Yeah, the cinematography was really good, and
these big wide shots of the forestry and everything, man. I mean, God, they were so good, and that's also what set this apart from the Progeny for me. And this being an Irish film, was it Prodigy?
Prodigy, yes.
Okay. Set it apart from what I'm not even going to try, giving further clarification about it. It's good, bro. It's good. It's good. No, but, this one, I was especially entranced by the presumed Irish landscape, and the forestry was supremely beautiful, man. And some of those, some of those drone shots above all of the very dense trees. It's not like widely spread trees where you can see things going on. It looks very much like, almost like skin, because it's so densely placed together and stuff. And then I have my quips about certain other things, but I will, get to that in the long run.
But overall, you enjoyed it.
I was impressed by this film. I didn't love it, and unfortunately, this is another that bared on the burden of expectation, because just today, on the Facebookies, a big fan actually of our channel, messaged me and was like, and it's a person from Europe, and I'm not going to call you out, but you built this up really big time for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you were like, it's the scariest thing I've seen since X film.
Oh, jeez.
And I was like, really?
Wow.
Well, and they also made some connotations that I can't mention without having a spoiler status,
Well, that's a bummer.
And, it was a bummer, because sometimes it takes me days to read the fan messages and stuff, so apologies if I don't get right back, but yeah, aside from that, it was still really good. It was still really good, and I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Well, the story is, it's pretty easy. A now single mother of a child who must be 8 or 9 years old, something like that.
It was around 10 from India. Exactly.
Yeah, probably something like that. And so they are moving to a new town. They're both, it's Irish, so presumably somewhere in Ireland. And something has happened in the past. The husband is out of the picture. We don't really know what, but the kid is starting at a new school, trying to make new friends. And slowly the mom notices that after they've moved here, and after they've had a couple of different encounters, her son starts to change in subtle ways, and she picks up on it. And there's, they run across a lady that had this exact same thing happen to her when they first get there. And as she sort of unravels the mystery of that, her own mystery is deepening with her son, and it's basically how it all plays out. But it is you know, even the trailer basically gives away that it is an essential Changeling story. We've seen it before in different things, but as we mentioned, Christmas Horror Stories segment, very, very similar.
I would disagree a little bit for the sheer fact that they try to tie in the fact of her taking this post-depressive medication, and they really try to keep you guessing and
whether or not it's actually real.
Now I'm kind of feeling like we've
no,
because
like, that's the entire
aspect of it.
Yeah, you know, that's the point of the movie and the trailer and everything. So.
Yeah, but okay, they do keep you guessing, and I was actually kind of guessing too because
were you okay?
I was wondering if they were going to throw a curveball at us at some particular point, and the fact that her perception has been so just misconstrued and so altered from these new medications, from depression with the husband breakup and the relocation and all this other stuff. And I felt like the movie tried to keep you on that particular edge, even if I never necessarily bought into it. I still wondered if they were gonna just, you know, give that inevitable, like, just change up, check it out, here's what's really happening. Mm-hmm. And there was actually another change up at the very end of the film that I was positive they were gonna do, and then they
I thought that was coming too.
It had something to do with the scar. And anyway. But
okay, that's the story, and mm-hmm. it's, you know, without really spoiling anything, that's what transpires for the movie, and that's the mystery. You know, she's trying to figure out exactly what's going on. Now, the acting I actually thought was pretty good. I thought the mom was good. I thought the kid especially was good. I thought the kid was actually better than the kid in The Prodigy that was also Georgie in the 2017 It movie.
Yeah. And
I think he just wasn't as good. As I said in that review, that was an example of a poorly directed child actor. Mm-hmm. This child actor did a really great job of getting across what they needed to in every scene they needed to.
Yeah, I did not see a bad performance in this entire movie. I mean, there's a hefty supporting cast, especially with like the dinner scene where they're all drinking and stuff like that, and we get a couple of those characters later on for like a score recital and stuff like that. But I mean, I hate to give just great credit to British and Irish and just basically actors across the entire UK and like most of Europe. Yeah. Most foreign actors, they take their craft with so much more intensity and certainty, and man, Americans just don't give a crap a lot of the time, and it just seems very like
it's you're being a little overly critical because here's the thing: only the cream of the crop from other countries make it over here.
Yeah, or the ones who actually make it to this level.
So we only see the best ones. I'm sure there's crap made in all these other countries as well.
Truly, but you know, I think with like the background of stage especially is the one thing that really trains a lot of these actors to be slightly higher par. But you know, I will rescind from my crap talking. Yeah.
Well, let's since we obviously appreciated at least the acting of the main two people in the whole movie. What about the effects? What did you think of the effects of the film?
Well, it's funny because there was one particular time where I leaned over to you, and when we saw the hole in the ground, and I'm like, "What do you think? Is that CG, or did they find like a really cool spot to film?" And then just have a little slight alteration, you know, with like moving ground and things like that.
I couldn't be sure, to be honest with you.
I honestly couldn't be sure either because it looked that friggin' real. Mm-hmm. I felt like they found a site and it just served the purpose so well.
The fact that the dirt was constantly churning.
Yeah, and that's where I was thinking.
I thought that was dope as hell. I thought that was really cool.
And that's where I thought, I'm like, okay, that has to be obvious post-production, but everything else as far as like finding a site and then just working with the site, it was nothing compared like I don't know, size-wise to like Crater Lake or something crazy like we've seen here in the Southwest. I mean, maybe comparable, I guess, but it just made me wonder if that was a physical place or not. Regardless, it was great. There was a lot of physical, but there was
towards the end.
A few character movement stuff.
And facial structure at times and stuff like that. I thought the CG enhancement was actually really good in this. I think it was
tastefully done. It didn't pull you out.
It didn't pull you out, and it was all lit very darkly, so it didn't like have the opportunity to be like, oh, that looks weird. And it all fit for the movie we were watching.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I thought was actually very tastefully done to like mask whatever financial like inadequacies was the fact that there was one conflict scene in particular with the flashing light and stuff where like the power is like dwindling and stuff, and it really aided to not pull you out by seeing a character attacking another character and you're like, oh, that looks so fake because there's this going down, and that just it was so smart in the way that they approached those particular scenes. It's very wise working with your constraints, and that's a sign of a very, very sharp filmmaker.
So that's the thing. The movie isn't like the best story-wise. It's nothing breaking new ground, but it's done in a more than competent way. It's executed in an entertaining way with very entertaining actors. So while yes, the movie isn't fantastic, it's actually more than watchable. If you're a horror fan, I think it's worth watching at least one time.
Totally, absolutely. Worth watching, from the performances to the way
I'll
it was
probably get it on like Black Friday. I think that's probably where I'll snack.
Honestly, I think I liked it enough to watch it again myself. Whether I did like a minor purchase or whether
I want Susie to watch this one. She'll freak out.
That's the thing. When I was watching this,
if you have kids, I'll bet.
Both of the girls at this point on the show with both of us, him and I are like single dudes with no children. Yes, and we have two ladies who are on the show with us. They both have kids. They both have like all kinds of obligations in that regard, and they react to things so much differently than us at this point. And we've started to see it more and more with trailers and things of that nature. And yeah, this is definitely one that I thought of Susie and Marsha the entire time, and I'm like, how would they react to seeing something like this? I think Susie would be more freaked out. I think Marsha would be more, it's A24, to hell with it, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, Susie, this might have been like the sweet spot for her, especially with a few scenes in particular, because Marsha hasn't dealt with a more grown-up child yet.
Yeah.
And Susie has. And that's where I feel like the difference lies between their mutual experience with child rearing at this point and what could mess with them.
So I think it would have been freaky for Susie, but it was, for us it was just pretty okay. So I think it's worth watching. I don't think you need to try and spend a bunch of money, rush out, and go to any theatrical screening that might be left.
Yeah, and a lot of festival buzz, and maybe the festival buzz was from women with children who I can't say that. I can't say that, but no, it's well shot and well acted. The biggest issue is that it could have had a better story. It could have explained things a little bit more, like maybe the main character asking around town, why is there a big hole in the ground?
Yeah. Who knows?
Never happens.
Nope. But
anyway,
it is what it is, and I'm knocking over the set, so that's.
And she doesn't even know the address of where she lives when she calls the cops.
Well,
there were some stupid bits in this movie that really ticked me off, but I liked most of it.
Ultimately, it was still entertaining.
It was.
That's going to do it for our non-spoiler review of The Hole in the Ground. Why don't you guys let us know in the comments down below. If you have seen it, let us know your non-spoiler thoughts. If you haven't seen it, does this make you want to watch it or not want to watch it? I'd be curious to know if it swayed you one way or another. But until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
Gracias. I've been Jaime Fuego.
And remember, stay scared.